Atlas of the World. You are going to hear a text about the new edition of the Oxford Atlas of the World. First, you will have 1 minute to study the statements below. Then, you will hear the text only once. While listening, mark the statements 1 through 8, true, T, or false, F, in the boxes after the statements. There is one example, 0, at the beginning. After the listening, you will have 1 minute to finalize your answers on the task sheet. Start studying the task now.
Let's talk geography with Ben Keene. He's editor of the Oxford Atlas of the World. Its latest edition is now out. And Mr. Keene, welcome to Living on Earth.
Thanks very much.
Boy, this is a big, beautiful book. It's got tons of pictures, and the index alone, I was counting, it has 110 pages. It weighs 8 pounds.
We didn't really want to skimp on anything, so we tried to really cram it full of information and maps, and hopefully we achieved that.
But, in a world of, Google Earth and GPS devices, why on earth do we need an atlas, a paper atlas?
An atlas gives you a perspective that you don't necessarily get online and looking at maps in Google Earth. What I like about atlases is that it really is a great way to show you the relationships between things in space. I think there's something really lovely about letting your mind wander, letting your eye wander. It sort of sparks imagination in a way.
Mr. Keene, what's the biggest change in this year's edition of the Oxford Atlas?
That's kind of a tough question. If you open our Oxford Atlas of the World, the first couple of pages we show maps of the poles that show the extent of summer sea ice has actually been shrinking. That is something that you can see quite clearly in our atlas, so that actually scientists are predicting that the Northwest Passage will actually be a reality. One would be able to sail from, Baffin Bay and Greenland over to the Bering Sea and Russia.
Well, I was flipping through the book and I noticed there's lots of changes in your maps of Africa.
Mm-hmm. Scientists who are working in the Sahel region, which is just the southern edge of the Sahara, noticed in a mappable way that vegetation was returning to that part of the world. Better land management and just sort of the relocation of people, movement of settlements in that area has changed the geography there.
Every map basically has built-in lies. You know what I mean? I'm looking at the, what is it, Mercator projection of the world, and Greenland is humongous compared to even Australia. It looks bigger, and it's not. Mm-hmm. It's a lot smaller.
Yeah, you're right. Every map does lie. I don't like to say that publicly, but you've caught me. But it's sort of a lie of necessity. The challenge that map makers face is to depict on a flat page or a flat surface something that isn't flat. So no matter what type of map projection you use, there's always going to be some distortion. As you pointed out, the Mercator projection is not particularly successful at keeping the areas of land masses accurate, especially at the poles. So therefore, Greenland looks much larger than it is. But what it is successful at doing is accurately showing the shapes of continents and land masses. So you try to find a balance between those things so that the shape and the area are as close to reality as possible.